What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Coach Magali if you're new here, and if you're not new, welcome back. And in today's video, I'm going to give you guys 4 ways to make changes to your diet so that you can actually see fat loss and weight loss results, which are, by the way, very simple without necessarily tracking your calories. If that is of interest to you, please keep watching. Do not forget to subscribe down below, like the video, and let's get into it. If you've been following me for any amount of time on Instagram or any other social media platform, you know that I'm always a big advocate for tracking. I think it's one of the best tools out there to get an accurate assessment of where you're starting from, what are your eating patterns, what exactly do we need to work on, and from there you can develop different habits that may make it possible for you not to have to track forever, which that's ultimately the goal. As a trainer, as a coach, my goal is to have my clients not track forever, but it is a great tool to get to your result, to get the most accurate and precise measurements. But it is annoying. It is a lot of work, it is a lot of time, and not everybody has to calorie count. I will say this though, I do recommend that if you've never tried it before, you give it a solid 2 to 4 weeks of trying it out. Kind of record what your patterns are, what you're eating, what you're not eating enough of, what you're eating too much of, and see it laid out in numbers and data so that it's easier for you to know exactly what changes you have to make. But if you have tried it and you don't want to do it again, or maybe you're just not ready for that, that's what this video today is for. I still really recommend it, but again, it's not for everybody. So we're going to get into the first way to make changes to your diet without necessarily tracking calories to see weight loss and better results. So the first thing you want to do is eat more vegetables. Duh, right? You're like, okay, I've heard that before. Let me tell you something. If something is repeated and repeated and repeated a million times over, it's for a reason. It's for a reason, you guys. There are things that we're gonna have to do that we just do not like to do, and that is just the way it's gonna be. The faster you accept that and the faster you find ways to make this easier for yourself, the better. And that's exactly what I'm gonna talk about with this first one. We always hear eat more vegetables, we get overwhelmed, we don't wanna eat them, we hate them, they're lame, blah, blah, blah. But I want you to know that it's not as hard as you may think. So what I want you to do to make this easy, quick, simple, is I want you to close your hand into a fist. This is a serving size of vegetables. And all I want you to do is add 1 to 2 fists a day. That's it. However many vegetable servings you're eating now, I want you to add 2 fists. 1 to 2. Whether you're eating 0, now you're gonna have 1 to 2. If you're eating 2, 2 to 4. You don't really have to go crazy, like eat 20 servings of vegetables, but you should be around 6 to 8. That's typically the goal that we want to get to. But if you're at 0, we're not going to push you to 6 right away. That's a lot of vegetables. It's a lot of work. Very overwhelming. Whenever we try to make this gigantic goal for ourselves that seems way out of reach, it's more likely to fail than not because it is just too much at once. So all I want you to do is 2 extra fists of vegetables. I don't care how you eat them. I don't care if they're frozen. I don't care if they're pre-cut. I don't care if they're grilled. I don't care if it's in a smoothie. I don't care if it's fried. I literally don't care, because the most important thing is to get vegetables in your diet. They don't have to be perfectly cooked. They don't have to be the perfect quality, the perfect whatever. Just get them in. And then eventually you can fine-tune that and incorporate better ways to eat vegetables, like more fresh stuff, less, oils in them and things like that. But right now, since you're not eating enough, this simple change will help fill you up a lot more, will help curb your cravings, because vegetables are a volume food, which means they have a lot of nutrients, a lot of fiber for very little calories. So it fills you up with not as much money. It's like buying a really cool item that's cheaper. You're getting more for your money. That's exactly what vegetables are. Instead of making it this overwhelming goal of I'm gonna eat 10,000 vegetables a day and I'm gonna replace everything with vegetables, just start with 2 fists. That sounds dirty. Well, you guys know what I'm talking about. 2 fists of vegetables a day. Call it, leave it at that, and then over time, perfect it, add more, increase the quality of your vegetables. But right now, just get the 1 to 2, and I promise you do that consistently, you will see a difference in your result. The second thing that I want you to do is to measure out protein with your hand as well. So a common thing with the first few is that we're gonna use our hand as guides to track how much we need to be eating of something. It's much more convenient and much easier than taking a scale with you, taking a measuring cup with you, because it is always with you, it is proportionate to you, and it is very easy to do. So with protein, we're gonna open our hand, and the size of your palm is the size of the protein serving that I want you to have. This can be anything. If you're vegan, vegetarian, obviously your protein sources will be slightly different, but if you're not, we're talking dairy, eggs, meat, fish, poultry, all of those things. If you're vegan, vegetarian, protein shakes, lentils, tofu, things like that. Essentially, I want you to add 1 to 2 palms a day. You're now getting an extra 30 to 50 grams of protein a day, just because you incorporated a little bit extra. Protein is very similar to vegetables, that it allows you to have a lot of food, a lot of nutrients, and it helps keep you fuller for longer, therefore curbing your cravings, therefore preventing you from overeating, because I'm sure you've heard protein is one of the most filling foods there is out there. You add the 1 to 2 fists of vegetables, add 1 to 2 palms of protein a day, whatever protein, again, sources you want, however you want to cook them. Work on the quality later, just get them in now. You do those 2 changes, you're going to feel a lot more full, a lot more satisfied, and just overall better. So that by default, you're just gonna have less cravings. You're gonna feel the need to eat a lot, much less frequently. And it's gonna help you to control that so that you can stay in your calorie deficit without necessarily bringing out the app and tracking everything in there. So use your hand. Again, vegetables is your fist, protein is your palm, and I will put a guide down below in the description box to measure carbs and fats as well. You can use this method for a lot of different things. So I will leave that below if you guys are interested in that. With that being said, let's get into the third way. The third thing that I want you to do is to simply hydrate more. And again, one of those other advices that you're like, oh my God, I've heard this again. I've heard it before. Like, why are you saying the same thing? Because it's important. It is essential, not only for your body to function, but also to make your body as efficient as possible when it comes to losing body fat and losing weight. So again, back with our theme on the first 2, we're going to start incrementally. We're going to start with really small steps to make sure that you're successful, so that you don't make this giant goal for yourself that you can't meet and then end up going backwards. So all I want you to do for water intake, however many ounces you're intaking right now, whether it's 0 ounces and you're drinking 10 cups of coffee a day, I see you. Or if you maybe have a little bit more than that, but you want to increase it, all I want you to do is add 1 extra water bottle a day, just 1. And if that's too much, which I know you can do it, I have faith in you, but if you really want to scale it back down, do half a bottle. So either 8 ounces, 8 to 16 ounces a day more. That is it. That's all I want you to add. Don't worry about a gallon. Don't worry about half your body weight. Don't worry about whatever. Just do 8 to 16 ounces more a day. And that by default is going to get your body functioning more properly and help keep you hydrated. And not to mention, water is one of those things that when you start drinking more of it, you're all of a sudden a new person. You just have better decision-making skills. You feel superior to your past self. You're gonna wanna continue that momentum. Same thing with all these other habits. So water is important for 1,000,001 reasons for your health, but it's also a great motivator to keep you on track to making better decisions elsewhere in your diet and all of those things. And water, you don't really have to track in terms of putting it into an app. Just keep track of it, whether it's in a bottle, a cup, whatever method you wanna do, whatever helps you add that 8 to 16 ounces a day. I promise you're gonna feel so much better and you're gonna see way better results because of it. And the fourth and final one that I wanna talk about, just to keep things short, this one is a little bit controversial. Some people think it's wrong, like people shouldn't do it, and other people understand. I think that it's a good tip, and if it works for you, I think it's great. It's helped me, it helps a lot of my clients, but also if it doesn't work for you, take whatever works with this video and leave the rest. Do not keep things in the house that you know you cannot control yourself with. And I know it sucks to go in that direction because we've been like building habits. Now it's like I'm taking away things from you. But it's not that. It doesn't mean you can never have it. It doesn't mean that it's off limits forever. Just don't have it readily available, because there are certain foods that you start opening the bag and you just do not stop. That can be a lot of foods for you. You can have a long list of them. But there are those that like you just have no control. And that's okay. That's human. I myself, that is hot Cheetos for me. And I recently discovered that Trader Joe's chili spiced mango is one of those for me as well, because I will eat the entire bag. And the entire bag has like, I don't even know, like 1,000 something calories. I eat that in one sitting. So I'm going to limit my purchasing of those in the near future. But my point being is that it doesn't mean that you're never going to eat them. It doesn't mean that it's off limits and you're restricting this and all of these different things. It just means that you're not going to have it right then and there to overeat all the time. Because if you're overeating a bunch of the foods that you can't have control over, there's no way you're going to be able to stay on track. And this makes it easy so that you don't have to constantly be restraining yourself and tracking everything and making sure you have the room for it. Like, just don't have it in the house. Again, I want to be very clear. This does not mean to not eat it. This does not mean you can never have it. This does not mean that you're restricting yourself. It just means that you're taking a little bit of space from that item because you know that it's not in your best interest to have it right then and there in front of you at all times. Figure out that list for you. only really make it the foods that you genuinely feel like you have no control over. Remove them from the house or limit how many you buy. So maybe buy 1 instead of 5. Slowly but surely start training yourself to eat the vegetables, to eat the protein, to drink the water, because there's no other option. And that'll make it easier for you to keep being consistent with these habits and keep doing these things on a regular basis to then be able to see the results that you want. And again, with these simple changes, you will see differences in your results, and you won't ever have to track a single thing in terms of putting it into an app and being on your phone and tracking every single gram that you eat. So as I mentioned at the beginning, you guys, I think tracking again is a really good thing to do every once in a while, just to kind of recalibrate, really get a good sense of where you're at and what changes you really need to make, and to learn a little bit about yourself. It teaches you a lot about your habits, and it's very eye-opening. I highly recommend it. But again, if you're not there yet, you don't want to do that, these 4 tips will help you really stay on track, really control your cravings, really work on your willpower and self-control and all of those things to allow you to stay consistent so that you can see the weight loss, the fat loss. Because a lot of the times you're working really hard in the gym, you're doing all these things, but you come home and you eat not the way that you're supposed to eat, and the results go out the window. My hope is that these 4 tips help you to prevent that from happening any longer and to help get you on track and finally be happy with your results. With all of that being said, you guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it was helpful. Let me know anything below, any comments, questions, anything like that. Please do not forget to subscribe before you go. It really does help me out, and it lets me know that you are interested in this content so I can make more of it for you guys. And I'll leave it at that. Thanks for watching again, and I will see you in the next one.